So I have lots and lots of amazing stories that I have had experiences with these beautiful crystal bowls and with sound therapy more generally. Amazing experiences, just that would really raise your eyebrows. And certainly that with these experiences, there's no way that I can have any doubt in my mind of the potency and the effectiveness of therapeutic sound, and particularly these beautiful crystal bowls. So there are many examples, but there's one that stands out to share from the perspective that when people are skeptical, and that's totally okay, it's healthy to be skeptical as long as it's an open-minded skeptical. If it's closed-minded skeptical, that's not really something that can open up to new possibilities. But if anyone was skeptical about bowls, this example is brilliant because it relates to a 2-year-old child. And you cannot tell me that a 2-year-old child has an understanding of what bowls are, or can be influenced by what I might say or what they may have heard or read about crystal bowls and the supposed benefits. So what happened was, this was a neighbour where this child, I was familiar with the woman and her child, and one day the 2-year-old was screaming and screaming and screaming non-stop, and I could really tell there was something wrong. So I popped over and I asked her mum, I said, "What's happening?" And she said, "I don't know. She's been like this for an hour and I've tried everything I know and everything that I've ever tried before that's worked. Nothing's working. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what else to do." And so I said to her, "Would you like me to get the bowls?" And she said, "Oh, yes, please." At that stage, she was happy to try anything, willing to try anything, just like desperate. And we're talking such distress that this little toddler was totally red-faced, flushed, hot, red skin, fast breathing, distress, screaming. And so I took 3 bowls over, and the first bowl I started to sound it, and within 5 minutes she had stopped screaming and was starting to settle. And I could sense energetically that there was a lot going on with the bowls. There was so much energy moving, and I don't understand what was happening, but I could feel it. So there was a lot going on. So I kept that bowl going for maybe 5-10 minutes, and by the time I put that bowl down, skin color was coming back and back to normal. The breathing had settled, the screaming had stopped, and she was just quiet. But still, she wasn't happy, but she was quiet. So I got the second bowl and I started to work that bowl. And again, there was just so much going on energetically. I was like, wow. And with this bowl, she started suckling her mother. And when she did that, it's like she started to look like everything was normal again. And I sounded that bowl for perhaps 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. And by the time I put that bowl down, anyone who was walking past would not have had any evidence or seen anything at all that child had just been this screaming, distressed mess for an hour, non-stop. So then I picked up the third bowl, which actually was this one here. This is the Laughing Buddha, which is like, it's called the Joy Bowl. It's like joy bubbles for your cells in your body. And again, a 2-year-old isn't going to have any understanding of any of that. And I started sounding this beautiful joy bowl, and she hopped up from her mother's lap and toddled over to this area where she had toys and things, and she picked a few things up and came over to me, and I discovered that what it was a little mini tea set. she was handing me a little cup and saucer, little plastic things, handing them to me like, for me to take them. And I was like, oh, okay. I took them. And then she had the little teapot and she was like pretending, and she was starting to play. And she was smiling, and it's like, hey, we're playing now. And her mum looked at me and I looked at her mum, and she was like, wow, like, like, thank you, but also, wow, like really, like went from that an hour of screaming distress to playing with her toys happily, like nothing, like none of that had even happened, looking completely skin color great, everything happy, everything good. And so like it was such a thing for me to experience, because I was really aware that she could not have had any influence, or where skeptics would talk about placebo or whatever belief systems. So it was a really powerful experience for her mum and also for me. And what was also fabulous is that her mum said she had not been sleeping well at all, very disturbed sleep for months. And she reported to me the next day, and I checked back several weeks later, and her mother said she was sleeping really well. It was from that night, straight away, she was sleeping really well, and her mother was just in shock and delight at the transformation. So that's my favorite example, and really I would love to share so many more. However, that one with the 2-year-old, I think really is the top of the pile because of her age. So how wonderful that there is like anecdotal evidence like that can really reaffirm and validate just how potent the crystal bowls can be, and also sound therapy in general, because it's not just crystal bowls that have this capacity, but certainly they have their own uniqueness. And in this case, with the uniqueness of what they could offer, it was an incredibly wonderful contribution to that mother and child. And really, like, what else would she have done? How long may the child have been distressed? Some people might have gone off to a doctor or a hospital, and, what would that have created? Would that help? Maybe. Would that not? Maybe. But it was just such a transformation so quickly from one extreme to the other. Oh man, I've been dining out on that for years. So happy to share it. And I also have actually the testimonial from the mother. I asked her to write me a testimonial because, wow, really, you don't have those kind of experiences that you can record like this come along so often with a little 2-year-old that cannot be influenced. So that's just what I want to share about these beautiful bowls. And how does it get any better than that? Truly, how does it get any better than that?